Yep, just sharing the deck, the Gemini 2.
Hi everyone, I'm Jaminatu Alabi-Sama, Google for Education Lead in England. Thank you GTech for inviting us today. We're just going to take, and this is the third installment as Andy mentioned, but we're going to take some time to really go through how we're helping schools transform teaching and learning and dig into just our ethos and our vision for 2022, and then I'll pass it over to my colleague Simon to go through workspace, and then Elliot will talk about sustainability and new product, Chrome OS Flex. So just the learning flows through everything that we do at Google. It all started, as you may know, with search and the ability to access information. But the way in which people understand and apply that information can be transformative for themselves and for their communities, for their schools. So learning makes information useful, which is why it's through everything that we do at Google. Next slide. We do believe that no matter our backgrounds, everyone deserves access to great learning experiences, and the ability to learn in the classroom and at home and everywhere in between has never been more important than it is today. Over the last few years, during the pandemic, we've definitely changed and transformed the way teaching and learning is applied at scale. And a lot of you as IT admins, educators, and head teachers have been instrumental in that as well. So when a student has everything they need to learn in a way that works for them, it's powerful, and powerful things can happen. So we want to make sure that we transform teaching and learning so that every student can realize their full learning potential. And it will naturally vary from student to student, but some fundamentals apply to all. Students need access to up-to-date curriculum, content. They would love teachers that can guide and support their learning, and so their learning journey. And so we need to make sure our tools and access to our tools and resources support their learning. So we can consider maybe a screen reader for accessibility, or video conferencing tools for learning at home, or connecting classrooms together. When the fundamental supports of our tools are provided, the possibilities are endless. Next slide. So a lot of the schools are part of the Google for Education journey. Some are new, some have been on it for a while, but you're not alone. You're part of the Google for Education family. And so as you can see, there's 170 million workspace users to date. Definitely a huge growth from the last few years. 150 million Google Classroom users, and we're the #1 device. Chromebooks are the #1 device globally. And so with about 50 million educators and students using it worldwide. So keep that in mind that, teachers, head teachers, all different types of groups really come together to make sure that these tools are usable for their students. And so your feedback is important to us while we iterate our tools. Excellent. So with that being said, learning happens everywhere. Government and multi-academy trusts are tasked with designing and delivering curriculum. They're tasked with designing curriculum that resonates with their students, but also they need to provide a safe and well-resourced environment for their students every day. Our school leadership teams, head teachers, director of IT admins, they make decisions about how to run these platforms. They're there to support the teachers and the type of ed tech that they bring in for teaching and learning. But we also have our teachers, the educators who deliver this curriculum and need to feel supported in whatever platform is chosen for these schools. So they would love to also consider ways to teach beyond textbooks. to ignite innovation and creative thinking in our students. But our entire ecosystem, so we need to be able to support our educators to do so. And lastly, our parents and guardians are also part of this ecosystem, but it's critical to making sure whatever platform is used in a school, when a student gets home, they're able to simply log in, sign into Google Classroom, run their work, and the parents believe that they're in a safe environment as well. So bringing this all together, we want to enable every leader, every educator, and every student. I mentioned earlier about feedback. We collect thousands of feedback from educators. So if you're a heavy user or just new to our tools, you may notice, I believe it's in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a question mark in every product where you can input feedback. And we do collate that, and we do look at, okay, what's most important? And if you've been on Google for a while, you notice every few quarters, there's an update, and at least twice a year we do roadmaps and what's coming next. So Simon will tap into a little bit of what's coming next for Workspace, but these are all improvements from the feedback we receive from educators around the world. So we have to be sure that our technology is reflected in the tools that we build for teaching and learning. Fun fact, a lot of our software engineers and members of our product teams were ex-teachers. So it's really good to have their experience and knowledge when designing products for the education space. Next slide. This slide is really important on accessibility. We have to make sure, as I mentioned earlier, about helping every student thrive. So you can individualize the learning tools. We've done that in a way in Google Classroom to help teachers apply learning to different sets of students with a click of a button. As well as learning with confidence. Students need to feel supported in the classroom. So you're able to collaborate together and fully participate in classroom activities. When you create these personalized environments, you're not picking on specific students, but you're able to share different types of work. Everyone has their own device, and no one feels left out. And then finally, this is really important, celebrating diversity and inclusivity. So students can configure their own accessibility settings. Some students may want a screen reader. Some students may need to maybe get their font bigger, or there's many different ways a student may need support with accessibility, and that's already built in to Workspace as well as Chromebook. So it's really helpful so that when diversity and inclusion is brought into the classroom, it's already built into the products that you're bringing in as a platform. And then finally, privacy and security. Simon will touch on this a little bit, but IT admins out there, you'll see that it's secure. So Google for Education, Chromebook secure by default. We have enterprise grade privacy and security built in, 24/7 monitoring, proactive blocking. So these are all the controls that you as an IT admin have over your workspace deployments for your schools. And so it is private by design, and the data ownership and controls are with you. Next slide. So our vision for 2022 and beyond, we will look at these 4 principles. First principle is really focused on enabling learning. We have partnered with companies like G-Tech, Lego, Merlin Mind, and a myriad of others to make sure that they can complement our tools, and you have access to so many other third-party tools and solutions. Next principle is to make sure that we're continuing to build for all educators. There are schools that have been on Google for Education for a very long time. And so as our features change with enterprise and the business side, it should also change and grow with education, so that it is a useful tool for you. And then finally, being able to provide safe learning. We mentioned privacy and security, so we'll get into that a bit later. But there's deeper compliance and controls for our IT admins, so that every school and every classroom and every student has a safe learning environment and parents have peace of mind. This is really important. We want you to continue to be sustainable. We have some new resources that we've put on our education site that all of our partners are supporting our schools with. And because our tools are built on the cloud, we're able to help reduce environmental impact through our school communities. And my colleague Elliot will talk to you a bit more of how we're doing that, how we're doing this as a company, and how you as an individual school or multi-academy trust can join in the fight to be more sustainable. So I'll leave it there and pass it on to my colleague Simon to talk about Workspace.
Thanks, Geminatu, and thanks, GTech and everyone on the call for the opportunity to have a chat here. I'm the Workspace lead across Europe, Middle East, and Africa for Google Workspace Education, and I'll just jump into talking about this product. I know you're all quite familiar with Workspace for Education, but just a bit of a level set. I'm just going to go through the 4 editions that make up Google Workspace for Education from left to right. So starting with Education Fundamentals on the left here, which is our free edition. It's a powerful free suite of tools, enabling collaborative learning opportunities on a secure platform. So, docs, sheets, slides, Gmail, calendar, all the editors, classroom sites, and many, many more tools, all rolled into one powerful platform for free for all eligible education institutions. And that's something that we're committed to continuing to offer our customers. And then we have 3 paid editions, which offer more premium functionality to support the growing needs of our customers. And actually, these were relaunched as recently as April last year, just to provide greater flexibility for our customers' needs. So start with Education Standard, which is really offering advanced security controls and analytics tools. You can think of that as the back end, really. If you're an IT admin, that's really kind of your bag, so to speak. And then you have the teaching and learning upgrade, which is more the front side, the educator tools, the enhanced educator tools. And then last but not least, we have the best of the best edition, Education Plus, which is our comprehensive solution offering all of the features and functionality found in all the other editions and extra features as well. So you can see how we've broken out these editions to kind of suit the different needs of customers, of no matter where they're at along their digital transformation journey. So we'll dig into security and insights to start. And Geminatu mentioned this before. I want to just bring a bit of context here as well around why this is so important. We've seen cyber attacks have increased exponentially, particularly in current times around the pandemic. Here are some global stats that are quite alarming. 2020 was the worst year on record to date for cybersecurity incidents. We know that threat's increasing. In 2019, cyber attacks doubled from 2018 to 2019. There's 24.5 million sensitive education records that have been affected since 2005. K-12 education institutions are the most targeted segment for ransomware. So some pretty alarming stats there. And really, it's just highlighting the importance. It's never been as important to make sure we keep our digital learning environment safe. And here at Google, we're invested in making sure that you have the safest, most secure environment possible for your staff and students. I just want to focus on 3 hero security features that we find in the Security Center. There's many more, that just picking out 3 here: the security health page, the security dashboard, and the investigation tool. What I might do is just jump across and demo these really briefly. So I'm just going to share the admin console. As you can see here, I'll just navigate across to the home page, down to the security, and you can see under the security center, there they are. We'll start with security health. So the reason I want to show you security health is, I mean, I've heard from customers so many times when we talk about security, they'll ask me things like, where do I go to find all my security settings? Or how can I understand what I've already got enabled, for example, like with my settings? It's hard to keep track of that. Or where do I go to learn more about those settings in the first place? So the security health page is like your one-stop shop to just getting across the security posture. It's a really great place to go. I think of it as like a doctor's health checkup. You're not going to go to the doctors every day, but maybe a handful of times a year. You will go there and just get a good checkup and get across your security settings. So just taking a look, you can see the different settings here, named here. One example, we can have a look at this here, this desktop access to drive. Navigate to the right, you'll see the status of that setting, which we can see is here is disabled for the entire organization. And Google gives that a little green check to say that that's actually quite secure. If you click on that, a little pop-up comes up to say that we haven't enabled this, which reduces the risk of data leaks. You can learn more about this. So all these recommendations will link out to support articles. And this is also a really key point because here we don't have these settings enabled, but we could learn a bit about, we'd get a recommendation on this, we could learn more about it and decide whether we think this is appropriate to activate for some of our organizational units, and you can even check and see which organizational units they've been set for as well. So really, really helpful place to come and navigate, I would say. And next, I want to show you, excuse me, the security dashboard. Now, I mentioned the health page is like a place you'll come to a handful of times, but the security dashboard is somewhere you'll come quite frequently because it's really a great overview of everything that's happening in your domain in real time. So very, very useful for an IT admin, making it a lot easier to detect, mitigate, deal with threats, right? So you can see here, you can get across all the different domains you might be managing. It's set by default to the last 7 days, but you can search for up to 180 days historical data. This is quite fun, actually. You can even customize this however you like, just to suit your preferences. And then, you know, what are we getting across here? So external file sharing or authentication, encryption, insights around spam filters and phishing, malware, user reports, and so on. So there's quite a lot to dig into here. Spam filters is a good example. So we could just view a report. This is where I want to show you the third tool, really, because let's say I'm an IT admin. I'm kind of interested in what happened last month in the spam filter. I see a couple of spikes I want to investigate. And this is where the investigation tool comes in. So I can just dive in a little bit deeper, check out some of these messages, because perhaps I think they're a little bit of a worry, bit of a threat, potentially. In this case, they're not, but we're going to pretend they are. So what you can see here is the field's preloaded. This is the beauty of it. It just seamlessly integrates from clicking on that investigation tool, so you don't go looking for it yourself. And you can see here some more data around these emails. We could dig into one. Again, more information. You could even dig into the content of the email. I have to leave a business justification here. I might say that's suspicious, and then jump in there. I'm not going to do that. Let's say I jump in and I don't like what I see, and I think, yeah, this is a phishing attempt. I can come back out and I can decide what I want to do with that. So maybe they're all phishing attempts. I could just click them all. I could just select individual emails, and then I have the choice to delete the messages straight away, mark them as phishing, mark them as spam, so on and so forth. One great example is if this went out to 1,000 students and it was a serious threat, I could just delete them and deal with that threat, in real time, in less than a couple of minutes if I really want to. Could even save that investigation for future reference as well. So there's so many things you can do, and you can see how this makes your domain a lot more secure. I'm just going to leave that and come back to our presentation, if I can find it on my tiny screen. Bear with me. We'll get there. And the next thing I really want to show you is the admin controls. So we've been through some of the hero features of the security tools. Just want to jump across to a host of holistic admin controls that are available within Google Workspace for Education. So you can see, from advanced mobile device management, helping you manage your endpoints, including Windows 10 devices, to data regions, context-aware access, and dynamic groups. There's just so much you can do here. And really the key point is that we've heard the feedback from customers, and we need to be providing greater control for our customers from an admin and policy perspective, which we do. And we also understand that the needs of the school change. So, it's important that we have admin controls and deeper layers of granularity that are ready when you are, to support you at every stage, again, of wherever you are on your digital transformation journey. So leaving the security and the admin policies aside, let's take a look at the teaching and learning. Taking teaching and learning to the next level with really advanced tools like Google Meet, particularly, as you would know, across the pandemic, to meet the need of distance learning, particularly. We're still seeing these tools being used as we enter this new era of hybrid learning. And of course, we also see the use case where schools are investing more in these tools to better prepare our students for their future careers. I'm a good example of that, actually, because right now I'm using these tools to communicate and collaborate with you all from Perth, Western Australia. Who would have thought that would be possible a few years ago? It's pretty amazing. Just want to call out some updates across Meet that you may have missed. Pretty easy to miss some of them. So in Education Plus, the Meet limit's been increased from 250 to 500 attendees to better suit many of our customers' needs. So we've heard from our customers that it would be helpful to have, a larger limit, right, to just handle most assemblies for a lot of schools instead of having to live stream. But on that point, when you do have those larger events, in Education Plus, schools can have up to 100,000 viewers in live stream to broadcast larger assembly events or sporting events or inter-school carnivals and the like. And just a side note as well, we've got closed captions coming to live streaming for a much more engaging experience as well. And just a couple of updates around breakout rooms as well. I mentioned breakout rooms because it's been such a key teaching and learning feature. Be able to create up to 100 breakout rooms and set them up in advance from Calendar. So we heard that was quite stressful to have to do it on the fly in the moment. So giving teachers and educators the ability to basically to coordinate setting them up in advance is a big update, really. So in Education Plus, outside of security and teaching and learning, there are more features, and we're adding more all the time. This is a real abridged version. A few we mentioned here include cloud search, extremely powerful search capabilities across the domain, additional drive storage that can be gained, and faster support. But a really excellent example, I think, of an additional feature is document approvals. It's a really handy admin tool that helps get decisions and feedback a lot faster with a built-in process in Google Drive, Gmail, Docs, and other editors. But maybe Docs is probably a great example. So you have a document that you need approved, but there's a handful of approvers involved. Instead of sending about 1,000 emails back and forth, you can just include them by using document approvals as approvers on that document. It's a much more streamlined situation. I've used it myself. I use it all the time. It's wonderful. So we're hoping that helps our customers save a bit of time as well. And a few final updates on what's coming and what's new in Google Workspace for Education. For the IT admins, some exciting updates here with drive labels. Admins will also have added controls to classify files stored in drive labels, based on the content sensitivity levels. So that can help you be more proactive about protecting, some of the most sensitive data, like PII, personally identifiable information. Quite often, it's not abused necessarily on purpose. It's people just accidentally sharing the sensitive information. So how do we mitigate that better? And drive trust rules, providing more control over how files can be shared within and outside of an organization. So probably an example here would be if an admin wants to allow, a handful of staff members to be able to share documents with anyone across the entire school, but only allow students to share files with people in their specific class, for example. So just better granularity, really. Here's a big upcoming feature, classroom add-ons. So maybe you're a teacher who loves to use third-party tools like book widgets or Kahoot, for example. And we've heard that it's quite frustrating for teachers to have to navigate to third-party tools outside of Classroom. And what Classroom add-ons is doing is simply just bringing it into Classroom, so it's seamless integration. Little side note, even quizzes that you can run will be gradable in Classroom as well. So it makes life a lot easier for teachers and students. And Classroom Roster Sync is something that's it's actually rolled out in the US. It'll be coming to the international later this year. It's the ability to sync your classroom rosters with your student information systems to make for a much more streamlined experience. So no more manually creating classes and inviting students. So just a few updates that I just want to mention one last thing, that we have a new round of really large announcements coming out within a couple of weeks. I'd love to share them with you now. I can't, but stay tuned because it's pretty exciting what's coming to the teaching and learning side of things as well. So can't wait to share those with you. And finally, just want to say, if any of this is of interest to you, we're offering 60-day trial for Google Workspace for Education Plus, including 50 licenses. So if you're interested, reach out to GTech. They'll be able to help provision a trial and support you with technical questions and walk you through the tools. Thank you. I'm going to pass on to Elliot at this point.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Simon. Are you going to be driving this slide, or did you want me to take over? Are you happy to drive this?
Happy to drive for you, Elliot.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, thanks so much for the presentation on Workspace, and yeah, thanks Geminatu for kicking things off at the beginning, and then also thanks to GTech for putting this webinar together in their series of webinars. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today. So my name's Elliot, and I'm the Chrome OS Commercial Partner Manager for UK and Ireland, and I'm going to be talking to you about sustainability and Chrome OS Flex. So if you can move on to the next slide there, Simon. Now, Google itself, we've established a long track record of commitments to environmental sustainability, and by adhering to our philosophy of providing open technology, we're doing our best to make sure that sustainability is easier and more accessible to organizations that use our products and services. Next slide, please. And something that many organizations don't know is that Google has actually been carbon neutral since 2007. And we were actually the first company in the world to achieve that. But 2007 was quite some time ago. So if we go ahead and fast forward to today's date, we've actually matched 100% of our annual electricity use with renewable energy. And we've made the largest corporate purchase of renewable energy in history. Where we are today is we are the first company to actually reduce our entire legacy carbon emissions. But we realize that we want to continue going further, and our goal by 2030 is to actually run our data centers on complete carbon-free energy. Next slide, please. And data centers themselves, I mean, they're inherently energy-hungry structures. So we've really tried to focus on making ours a lot more efficient. And these are a few of our milestones so far. So as I just mentioned, we purchase enough renewable energy to match 100% of the electricity used by our global data center operations. And on average, a Google data center is twice as energy efficient as a typical enterprise data center. And since 2011, our carbon intensity per unit of revenue has decreased by an incredible 86%. Next slide, please. So by establishing and following our sustainability best practices, we can go ahead to extend those benefits to our customers as well. Next slide, please. By using Google for Education technology, it lets you to bring more sustainable products and services into your school, whilst also supporting environmental conservation and equity at a global scale. Next slide, please. So as a Google for Education customer, you're helping to contribute to our sustainability efforts. That carbon neutral cloud I've just spoke about really does help to mitigate greenhouse gases. And we've established strict sustainability criteria for our supply chain so that any partners or suppliers we work with must adhere to these strict sustainability policies. And by addressing sustainability on a global scale, we can all help to create more equity around education by ensuring populations at risk aren't unfairly suffering due to that environmental degradation. And as well as boosting learning with Google for Education, you're investing in educational resources with sustainability already built in, along with efficiency and ease of use to ensure adoption. Next slide, please. So if we look at Google Workspace for Education products like Classroom, Google Meet, Docs, Sheets, and Slides, they're all designed to enhance learning and instruction while also reducing environmental impact because they're built on the world's cleanest cloud. So businesses that switch to cloud-based products like Google Workspace have gone ahead to report reductions in IT energy use and carbon emissions by up to 86%. And businesses that are actually using Gmail can reduce greenhouse gas emission impact just by sending an email and using Gmail as its email service. And that's compared with running email via on-premise servers. They can see that change by up to 98%. So whether someone's actually using Google at home or as part of an organization, running Google Cloud or Google Workspace, all of these products are carbon neutral and help us to adhere to those sustainability goals we're working towards. So because Google Workspace runs on that carbon neutral cloud, every email you send helps us to contribute to our carbon offsets. And we go ahead to invest that in core sustainability projects and infrastructure. This then provides your school with community with environmentally friendly options. If we look at things like Classroom, we can give students a kind of, let's say, virtual backpack so that all of their work is in one place and they don't have to use paper or purchase books. The Google tools like Meet and Google Earth can go ahead to enable further possibilities like virtual field trips, which parents can even participate in. And sustainability is not a new thing for Chrome OS. It's something that we've been committed to from the very beginning. So whether it's the power efficiency of our devices or automatic updates that allow our devices to start fast and stay fast over time, or even the types of materials that we use that are both rugged and durable. So last year, we renewed our focus on longevity and power efficiency by actually introducing AI and machine learning to bring efficient charging and super low power load states. What you'll see this year is an even greater commitment to materials. And you'll see that many of the 2020 Chromebooks we're bringing out from the likes of Acer, HP, and Asus are built with recycled materials and built with repairability in mind. And all of this is aimed at empowering the broader ecosystem, and you choose your hardware and software solutions that have the planet in mind. Next slide, please. But I guess one thing to understand is that sustainability needs to be considered across the entire life cycle. Looking at first how it was made and where were those materials sourced from, how responsibly it is consumed, and also how it's used at the end of the life cycle to reduce e-waste. For example, has it been built with repairability or recyclability in mind? And across this whole life cycle, we have a really fantastic story to tell. So starting at manufacturing, as I mentioned, Chrome OS devices are built with very durable features with our spill-proof keyboards, scratch-resistant Gorilla Glass that make them last longer. And additionally, those OEM partners I mentioned are really driving green principles and incorporate sustainable materials and responsible manufacturing processes within their supply chain. Some key examples of this is HP's Elite C1030 Chromebook, which was featured in the Lonely Whale's 2020 annual report and is actually the world's first Chromebook made with ocean-bound plastics. Acer also uses PCR plastics. Lenovo's special manufacturing process significantly reduces carbon emissions. When it then comes to actually using a Chromebook, Chrome OS runs on the cleanest cloud in the industry, Google Cloud. And with it being a cloud-first platform, it's powered by our net zero cloud, which is soon to be, as I mentioned before, with carbon-free data centers. This cloud-first platform actually uses up to 46% less energy to lower device carbon footprint. And Chromebook's power management capabilities offer efficient charging, low power load stresses, and optimized device performance. And sharing Chromebooks between multiple users actually results in fewer resources and equipment, resulting in waste minimization. So we've talked about sustainability here, which I'm sure is a key focus for many of your schools. And we've covered why Chromebooks and the Google for Education products are the most sustainable choice. But the question is, what if you don't actually have a Chromebook? And it's a very good question that we get asked all the time. And it's actually a good thing if you don't have it's a good thing if you don't have a Chromebook, because the most sustainable device is really one that's already been produced. And this leads me nicely into Cloud Ready, which is something we've been offering to the market for quite some time. And Cloud Ready runs on almost any hardware from a few years old up to 10 years old to breathe new life into legacy devices and make them faster, more secure, more easier to manage, and up to 21% more energy efficient. So to give a bit more background on Cloud Ready and its recent update, which you may have seen to Chrome OS Flex, here's a little bit of a background as to how we actually got to this point. So it all started with Neverware, which was a company founded over a decade ago in 2011. In 2005, they created and launched a product that some of you may already know today, Cloud Ready, which is that OS that allows users to experience the benefits of Chrome OS. But it allows schools and organizations to repurpose those aging devices into the secure devices that are managed in the Google Admin Console. But in December 2020, Google acquired Neverware, and for the first time, an official Chrome OS is being offered to the market through Cloud Ready called Chrome OS Flex, with a new name and a better, more integrated official Chrome OS product, which I'm going to discuss in further detail. So what is Cloud Ready? What is it still currently? Well, it's built on Chromium, so that means it's not, well, it wasn't officially a Chrome OS. It has different branding to Chrome OS, Neverware, and Cloud Ready, both with different logos. The browser, which you may have experienced, is different as it uses the Chromium browser. And there's been a standalone licensing model on cost. Cloud Ready also runs on a different updates schedule from Chrome OS. And finally, it was managed by the Cloud Ready admin site, as well as the Google Admin Console. But what you would have seen come into market is Chrome OS Flex, which is now fully integrated as a Chrome OS offering. So what does that mean? Well, with the new name, branding, and user interface, it's all harmonized with Chrome OS. Flex actually has the same internal code base and release schedule as Chrome OS. And there's also only one version, which is freely available. So there's no standalone licensing cost for Chrome OS Flex. It's also managed entirely through the Google Admin Console. And in order to have a managed device, all you need to do is purchase that Chrome Education upgrade, and that will give you access to all of the support and management capabilities. And what we're trying to drive here with Chrome OS Flex as our goal is to serve as a bridge between Chrome with a full software and hardware stack. So Flex is going to allow you to accelerate your proof of concepts so you can know what devices can be deployed on based on the sets that you already have. To truly expand the footprint of Chrome within the organization. It can be used on existing hardware that you can start with right away without any new hardware costs. And then it also helps you to grow Chrome OS via Chrome OS Flex and invest further in the full hardware and software stack. Next slide, please. So Cloud Ready itself is already being used by 3,000 plus education and enterprise customers globally, and has led to major Chrome deployments that continue to grow through Chrome OS Flex. And one of the key examples I thought would be useful to share was some work we did with the Ministry of Education in Malaysia. So after a nationwide implementation of G Suite for Education, COVID struck, and the CTO of the Malaysia Ministry of Education was keen to explore what further collaboration they could do with Google to actually assist schools during the COVID period whilst reducing their total spend. And by leveraging Cloud Ready and the Chrome education upgrades on an initial pilot program, we were actually able to work with them on getting Chrome OS into a larger expansion into their organization. And since June 2001, they've really adapted it a lot more, and it's been deployed to the lower income student population that's spread out across the country. And that's a grand total of 56,000 devices across the organization. So within education, I guess some of the key reasons that schools are using Cloud Ready at the moment is because you're able to try the Chrome OS on an existing PC and Mac without purchasing any new hardware. So what does that mean for you? Well, as a school, you have old devices that can be bought out of the cupboards and repurposed onto a faster, more secure device. You can also streamline mixed device management and use them as an overall bridge towards Chromebooks across the organization. And simply put, it's really fast, easy, and flexible. And like I've said, schools can start transforming their devices right away with hardware that they have on hand. So you're able to use new or existing Chrome education upgrades to manage your Flex devices within your admin console and really repurpose that hardware that's unused or underutilized. So again, really talking about the hardware that might be underused or underutilized and tying back to that sustainability piece I was talking about before. These legacy devices can be put back to work and really decrease e-waste, all whilst equipping students and teachers alike with a fast and sustainable device. And where Chrome OS is continuously optimized with automatic updates and those power management capabilities, it offers efficient energy use and much better device performance. So just on time there, that brings us to an end of the session. I really hope you found all of the information useful that myself and the team have presented today. We can't wait to see you at BET, so please speak to GTech about all of the great things that we're going to be running in tandem with them. And yeah, we will hopefully get to see you all very soon in person.
That's brilliant. Thanks, guys. Fantastic presentation. Really exciting things coming around the corner. Certainly, Simon, when you said the new things even further coming around the corner, we'll definitely keep an eye out for that. So yeah, no, really fantastic. I think for as a company, I know we're really excited by the sort of sustainability side. It's something we're trying to focus on and pushing through to our customers. So it's great that this is kind of supporting that realm sort of into the education space rather than just enterprise. So for me, that's something I'm really interested in looking at. But yeah, no, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat. Yeah, and we'll just see where we go from there for now.
I'd just like, if everyone would just like to say thanks ever so much for everybody who participated today. Massive thanks to Jem, Simon and Elliot. Simon, incredible effort to be up at this time of night in Australia, so we don't actually feel too bad for you. But everyone else who turned up, thank you so much. If you've got any questions or queries, as I say, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Simon Hall, or just contact the team email address at team@GTech Education. But hopefully look forward to seeing you at the BET show in a few weeks' time. Yes. Thank you very much indeed. So someone has raised their hand. Yes, Jem, you've raised your hand.
Yes, I have a question for everyone on the call. If you're a large organization coming to BET, we do have some slots in our Google area. So is anyone thinking of coming? Are you bringing a full team? If so, please reach out to the GTech team so that we can get that booked in and meet with our leadership as well. So I see some large organizations on the call. So it was a question / comment.
Thanks, Jem. Okay. So we'll get the recording will be made available to everybody. And if you didn't make the first 2 sessions on Merlin Mines and Lego Education, we'll be distributing those as well. So thank you ever so much for everyone who participated today, and look forward to seeing you all soon. Thanks very much indeed. Cheers then, folks.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.